Hi HOK fam, it's Sierra here for your next Wellness Minute. I'm here to tell you what I've been up to during quarantine. As many of you know, I do not know what free time is. Pre-quarantine, I had something on my calendar every night of the week, every weekend, whether it was coaching volleyball practice, coaching a volleyball tournament, going to book club, meeting up with friends at happy hour, or doing an industry event. I just did not know what free time was. At the beginning of quarantine, I was struggling big time. Yes, I love my dogs, but being here all day and all night, every day of the week and every weekend was just way too much for me. I was extremely overwhelmed, pretty sad, and very bored. So I said, what better time than now to create a hobby? I've always been interested in this style of art, but I thought, you know what? I can do that, so I'm gonna teach myself. So I've taken up macrame. Macrame can be very overwhelming to start, but I just ordered a bunch of cord, watched a bunch of videos, and just tried it out. And I honestly found something that I'm obsessed with. It is super therapeutic, and it has a little creativity to it. So I get to be creative, create artwork, spend some time thinking in my own thoughts, and tying knots. I'm going to show you a small macrame piece. I'm going to recreate this guy while also introducing you to a couple of knots and a small how-to. So follow along. Step number 1 is to find your knot spot. So here's mine. I'm in my living room for a few reasons. 1, I can have a nice view outside. 2, I can watch TV. 3, I can listen to some music. Or 4, I can keep my eye on the dogs. It's important to find a spot that has something that you can hang your rod from. A lot of people who macrame use a clothes rack so that they can roll it anywhere that they'd like to work. But since I'm an amateur, I use my curtain rod. So I have a couple of strings here suspended so that I can hang my rod from it. So let me show you. The next step is to cut your cord. Oftentimes the cord comes on spools like this. So I like to set it on the ground and work this way. This macrame piece I'm about to show you uses 34 9-foot cords. I pre-cut them so I didn't have to bore you. Next, we attach all of our cords to our rod. Fold the cord in half and grab the 2 ends that are separate from each other. Loop those 2 ends behind and over your rod, and then pull them through the other 2 pieces of cord. Let me zoom that in for you. Now that I have all of the cords attached to the rod, it's time to start the macrame piece. This one uses 2 different types of knots. One is called the square knot, and the other is called a diagonal hitch knot, and I'll show you how to do both of those. A square knot uses 4 cords. To begin, create a 4 with the very left-hand cord. Then, put the right-hand cord over the leg of the 4, behind the 2 in the center, and through the loop of the 4. Continue by pulling taut on the 2 sides and down on the 2 center cords. You're halfway done with your square knot now. So now we need to repeat on the opposite side. So I create a 4 on the right hand side, take my left hand cord, put it over the leg of the 4, behind the 2 in the center, and through the loop of the 4. And again, I pull the 2 ends tight while pulling down on the 2 in the center. Then you have your square knot. To create a diagonal half hitch knot, you start with your working cord. I hold my working cord at a diagonal that follows the triangle. I then take my first cord, loop it over the working cord and through, and pull it tight. And repeat for a second time with the same cord. Now that I've completed the first triangle, I'm going to continue with the 2 other diagonals, followed by the other triangles with square knots. And then I'll hit you up with the last step. have it, the finished macrame piece. But there's still one last step, and that is to cut the bottom of the cord. If you've been wondering where my dogs have been the whole time, they've been sleeping. Literally the entire time. That never happened. Good job, Bubba. Good job, Bubba. So I do plan to dye the bottom of that macrame piece similar to this one, but I'll spare you that part for now. I was super interested in what Miss Tiffin has been doing and following her along on Instagram with her explorations of dyeing with natural dyes. She inspired me so much that I made her help me with this one and show me how it's done. We use natural indigo dye to dye this one, but it's a little bit different from other natural dyes. Next up, I'm going to try to do blush color. I'm going to cook down some avocado pits, dip the bottom of the macrame piece into it, and then hopefully I'll have a blush. But who knows? Thanks Tiffin for all the inspiration and for all the knowledge. And if you need some, go follow her on Instagram. It's super cool and really interesting. I also wanted to say a huge thank you for following me along on my macrame process. I hope you've enjoyed it and that I've inspired at least one of you to give it a try. Please reach out if you have any questions, and you can follow along my macrame journey on my Instagram too. Till then, I miss you all. I hope you have a great week, and I can't wait to see you all again in person. Happy macrameing!